3 weeks ago at Florida Field, the Gators were engaged in a crucial early SEC matchup against Alabama. After an average showing in the opener, the Gator defense posted a shutout against the Crimson Tide. Last week, the Gators once again rebounded from a poor performance outside the conference and held Mississippi State to a season-low 7 points. On the other side of the ball, the Gator offense has used both their ground and air attack to average nearly 500 yards per SEC contest and send the message to the rest of the conference: beware of the Gator attack.
Well, that's that goal at the end of the season. I think is what gets everybody fired up to play. Is, you know, knowing it's going to be a really physical game, because I think there's no way you can be any physical than getting to a SEC contest. And you know, I guess other guys can say this and that about their conferences and their teams and their areas, but I like to see them play a SEC game because you definitely get banged up.
Tonight, the Gators traveled to Death Valley and put their unbeaten conference record on the line as they tangle with the Tigers of LSU.
They haven't looked as good on film, but they've got all the personnel there. Everybody's returned. They're large guys. They're quick guys. You know, everything is there for them to be a good ball club. They just haven't really clicked at this point. And they've had a week off to prepare for us.
Florida versus LSU next. From Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Sports Channel presents University of Florida football. Tonight, the Florida Gators take on the Louisiana State University Tigers. A cool, breezy night in Baton Rouge, and you are looking live at Tiger Stadium, one of the great college football venues in America. The Gators take on the LSU Tigers. And hello, everybody. I'm David Steele, along with Jim Yarborough. We're glad you could be with us for tonight's game between Florida and LSU. The Gators bring a 3-1 record into tonight's contest. Got a big win last week against the Mississippi State Bulldogs, Jim. A win Florida desperately needed, coming off a big loss at Syracuse.
Well, it was the SEC battle, David. The Gators are undefeated. They believe they're contenders, want to make a run for this championship. The fun is back in the fun and gun offense, and the reason is because they found balance last week. Eric Rhett was able to move up and down the field, and when that running game is in gear, Shane Matthews is even more dangerous. The defense also did excellent. Held Mississippi State to 77 yards rushing, and Brad Culpepper was player of the week in the SEC.
Offensively, Eric Rhett rushed for over 140 yards. Shane Matthews threw for over 300 yards last week against Mississippi State. When you take a look at what Florida has done against Southeastern Conference opponents, Alabama and Mississippi State, it is quite impressive. The Gators have been dominant against SEC foes. We've got a graphic to show you right now that really points out how dominant the Gators have been against the Crimson Tide and the Bulldogs.
And I believe it's because of the focus of attention that the players put on these SEC battles. They had problems with San Jose State and Syracuse defensively, but in the Southeastern Conference, they've been able to put the brakes on the opponent.
Well, the LSU Tigers have not been nearly so successful, surprisingly so. LSU has really stumbled out of the blocks. They lost big at Georgia. They lost big at Texas A&M. Finally got a win, but struggled against Vanderbilt here 2 weeks ago. What's happened to the once proud LSU football team, Jim?
Well, they had 20 veterans returning, 20 starters from last year, David, and they don't really know what the problem is, and we don't either. We'll find out tonight, but they've made some major changes. They had a week off last week. They've got a lot of freshmen on their first and second units. They've got a true freshman starting at nose guard, and that's very unusual in the Southeastern Conference, so they're trying to shake things up with this ball club right now. Get back in gear.
How far has LSU fallen? Well, just a couple of years ago, 1988 to be exact, LSU won the Southeastern Conference Championship. They have now experienced back-to-back losing seasons. Only one time in LSU history in football has the LSU football team lost 3 years in a row. That was 1954, 55, and 56. The LSU football tradition ranks with college football's powerhouses. This season, the Tigers find themselves in an unusual position. Fans and experts are scratching their heads after a 1-2 start. First-year head coach Curly Hallman has brought a strong work ethic from Southern Mississippi, and the Fighting Tigers are looking for a big win against the Florida Gators tonight at Tiger Stadium.
It's going to be a great challenge for us, but we've had enough time to get ready to play them, and it should be an exciting night in Tiger Stadium, and maybe some great things will come out of this, because we're making some positive things happen now, and a win over Florida would be something great for this program.
Their crowd will really be behind them. LSU returns 20 of 22 starters, I think. So they've struggled some. I don't know all the reasons why. Hopefully they won't get it together this coming week, but we got a feeling they probably will.
Ball control is the team's main concern. Sophomore quarterback Jesse Daigle will start his third game and hopes to spark some life into a smoldering offense. His prime target, all Southeastern Conference wide receiver Todd Kinchin. Kinchin leads LSU in receiving, and he feels the Tigers' first victory this season was a big boost.
We struggled for our first couple of weeks of the season, and having a win, no matter how it came, no matter how ugly it was, no matter who it was against, was very positive for us. I think that we needed that tremendously.
Tonight, close to 80,000 purple and gold clad fans will turn Tiger Stadium into a Tiger's lair. LSU hopes the home crowd can inspire the defense to stifle Florida's high-powered offense. Anchoring the D is the team's emotional leader, senior nose tackle Mark Boutte. He led the Tigers in quarterback sacks last season and remains one of the conference's most intimidating football players. Keep an eye on number 95 for LSU.
In the country, and have a great quarterback in Shea Matthews, so we just have to go out against Florida and play with emotion and just see what happens from there.
Sports Channel's coverage of Florida Gator football is brought to you by Dairy Farmers Incorporated. Milk, it does a body good. By First Union Service, we guarantee it. By Osmos and Great Southern Wood, the most trusted name in wood preserving. By OM Genuine Draft and OM Genuine Draft Light. Real draft beer without the K. By Emily Southeast Formula Motor Oil, built to keep it cool when the heat is on. And by Chevrolet and your Florida Chevrolet dealers.
Let's take a look at the starting lineups for tonight's football game between the LSU Tigers and the Florida Gators. First of all, for the Gators on offense, Matthews and Rhett, McNabb, Everett and Sullivan, the wide receivers, Terrell Jackson, the tight end, Eric Rhett becoming one of the top running backs in the entire country, certainly in the Southeastern Conference. The Gators offensive line, all seniors except for Jim Watson. And Jim, Mark White has done a fabulous job for the Gator offense this year.
A lot of pressure on the backside tackle, especially against Boutte tonight. Mark White, an excellent tackle for the Gators.
Gator defense along the front line. Brad Culpepper, the senior from Tallahassee, Florida. What a year he's having.
Couldn't be any better. He was player of the week in the Southeastern Conference last week, had a couple of sacks and 4 tackles for lost yardage as well.
Gator linebacking core, Ephesians Bartley and Tim Pauk. Junior Carlton Miles from Daytona Beach is the team's leading tackler.
Yeah, he inched ahead of Timmy Pauk in tackles made, doing an excellent job at inside linebacker.
Gator defensive backfield, a couple of experienced players, and then you got the freshman Larry Kennedy back there at one corner.
Yeah, we need an asterisk by his name. How many times do you see a true freshman start at the cornerback position in the Southeastern Conference? What a great athlete.
LSU's offense, take a look quickly at the backfield, and there you see the name highlighted, Todd Kinchin. He's a great one.
And it should be highlighted. One of the best receivers in the country.
Offensive line for LSU, Andy Martin, a senior, the only senior on that group.
4 starters returning. Andy Martin, one of the best.
Now let's take a look quickly at the Louisiana State University defense. We've already heard a lot about Mark Boutte.
He'll be putting a lot of pressure on Matthews tonight. He had an excellent game against the Gators last week.
Linebackers, Ricardo Washington had a big week last week, 2 weeks ago, I should say, against Vanderbilt.
Excellent inside linebacker, picked off an interception.
Defensive backfield, an experienced group, every one of them, and Wayne Williams, his 25th start for the LSU Tigers. And we are just about set to begin with Coach Steve Spurrier looking on. The Gator head man has been extremely successful. There you see his overall record. He is 12-3 with the Gators. Now in his second season as head coach, the former Heisman Trophy winner. Really putting a powerhouse together in the Sunshine State. Arden Krzyzewski kicks off. Fuller and Marcus Carter are deep. And this is Fuller from the goal line. To the 20. Out. Beyond the 30-yard line goes Fuller. A 32-yard return by the junior from Leesville, Louisiana.
Myrick Anderson on the tackle right there, but a gaping hole up the middle initially for LSU.
LSU quarterback Jesse Daigle, 5'11" sophomore, out of Baton Rouge. His numbers for the season. Did not play much at all last year. Tonight's backup quarterback Chan Loop got much more playing time last season. They're both sophomores, but Daigle gets the starting nod tonight. LSU from its own 31. Daigle throwing on first down, and the pass is dropped. Intended for Wesley Jacobs, and he just couldn't hold on to the football.
Yeah, quick hitch. Jacob does not concentrate on the catch, drops the ball.
Looking at big 97, Michael Brandon, the senior from Perry, out of Taylor County High School. He was the inspirational leader last week against Mississippi State. Really gave the ball club a lift in Orlando at the Citrus Bowl Stadium against a good Mississippi State football team. And by the way, while on that situation, first let's take a look at Curly Hallman, the first-year head coach for LSU, formerly at Southern Mississippi, 3 years head coach there. An offensive holding call is going to be marked off against the LSU offense, so that'll push the football back inside the 20 to the 16-yard line.
Really negates that excellent field position they had.
Well, you can see what LSU has done at night. They have been very hard to beat. 60s, 70s, 80s, and now into the 1990s here at night, Death Valley. Daigle rolling out. And he overthrows his receiver, Marcus Carter, who had 9 receptions last year against the Florida Gators.
One reason Jesse Daigle is getting the nod at the quarterback position is because they feel he's the most versatile athlete at quarterback, has some running ability, and there you saw them try and sprint him outside so he could perhaps buy himself more time to pass the football.
There was a personal foul apparently called, not a hold, and it was a dead ball foul, Jim, so LSU experienced a loss of down, so now it is 3rd down for the Tigers. They need 25 yards to pick up a first down. Fuller, not much running room there as Harvey Thomas made the stop just beyond the line of scrimmage, but a penalty flag has been thrown.
Now that's one difference in this LSU ball club and those that we've seen traditionally. They do not have the ability to throw the ball that well. Gators are off sides, but on 3rd and long they choose to run it right up the gut, but fortunately for them there was a violation by the Gators off sides.
That'll give LSU new hope here early in the first period. Scoreless football game. I was just going to say a moment ago that our thoughts and our prayers go out to the friends and family of Rodney Stowers, the Mississippi State football player who tragically passed away earlier this week, played in last week's Florida football game in Orlando. That was just a tragic situation. We're thinking about that entire football program and his family certainly tonight. 3rd down and 20. And the draw to Fuller. He's got room across the 25, but he needs a lot more room than that as the Gators bring him down at the 29. Carlton Miles and Del Spear were there to make the tackle. So LSU will have to punt the football on its first offensive possession.
An excellent stand initially by the Gator defense. One thing you have to think about whenever you come to Death Valley is you want to take this crowd out of the game as soon as possible. The Gator defense did their job forcing the punt.
Brian Griffith, all Southeastern Conference punter last year. And there's Monty Duncan, Florida's return man, who's standing around his 31-yard line. Griffith is averaging about 43 yards a kick. Gators put an intense rush on, but he gets the kick away. Nice kick it is, and Duncan has nowhere to go. He's down at the 36. Mike Garrett, the first man there, a 38-yard kick and a 4-yard return. 13:35 left to play in the first period, and we are scoreless from Tiger Stadium. Florida's first possession from its own 36-yard line. Junior quarterback Shane Matthews operating the Florida attack. Receivers right and left, and the pitch to Eric Rhett. Rhett makes one man miss him. And then he is knocked down by Anthony Marshall, the free safety. Rhett, the hard-running sophomore tailback from Pembroke Pines, Florida.
One of the top performers in the Southeastern Conference, rushing the football as well as being a pass receiver.
6 games of over 100 yards rushing in his brief college career. McNabb is the fullback in front of Rhett. Oh, what a hit delivered by the LSU Tigers, Anthony Marshall. Trey Everett was the intended receiver.
LSU goes with their base defense, only rushing 4 down linemen. Shane Matthews had plenty of time, but it was Marshall, the safety, that closes rapidly on Houston. Watch this hit by the safety, Marshall. Houston had a chance to come up with the ball anyway.
Yep, it's 84 Houston rather than 24 Trey Everett. They're both in the ball game now. Gators have been very effective on 3rd downs. Here's their first 3rd down conversion of tonight, and they're not so successful on this occasion. Alonzo Sullivan well covered by Wayne Williams. That'll bring up 4th down for the Gators.
That ball was well thrown by Matthews. Alonzo Sullivan simply trying to pick up the 1st down yardage with a sideline route. Possibly could have caught that one as well, but Wayne Williams was there with excellent coverage.
Freshman Shane Adge, sort of a freshman and a half in the Gator program. He came to school in January of last year. Got a jump in that regard, had a full spring workout with the ball club. He's done a fine job punting the ball for the Gators. Marcus Carter is the deep man for the LSU Tigers.
That wind is really swirling down in the playing field tonight. Quite breezy.
Carter is wrapped up and taken down. Let's take a look now at the Osmos Great Southern Wood key matchups for tonight's game.
Well, we talked about Mark White playing the left tackle position against big Mark Boutte. A lot of pressure right there. And Todd Kitchen, one of the outstanding performers in college football. He'll put a lot of pressure on those Gator defensive backs. Tiger offense really must roar. Currently, they're last in the Southeastern Conference in total offense.
Well, they're last in quite a number of categories coming into tonight's game, but they are an inspired group here early in this first period. 12:39 left, still scoreless. Bagel, play action. Culpepper chasing, and down he goes at the 6-yard line.
David, one of the keys to Brad Culpepper's success is his tenacity. He's got great quickness and strength, but he refuses to go down. He's the defensive tackle. As we mentioned last week, he had an excellent game. Watch the tenacity as Brandon forces Daigle out of the pocket. Culpepper just simply chases him down from behind.
Well, the Gators had such great pursuit on that play. I wondered if LSU was trying to set up a screen, but I don't think so. I think the Gators just whipped their offensive line and made Daigle race out of the pocket. Penalty flag is down as Fuller is crunched at the 7-yard line. Let's check the flag. Will White was there to make the tackle.
Another big hit by the safety. White coming up to support, contain the running game. Did a great job right there. Game's been rather sloppily played on both sides with a lot of flags flying out there early in the ball game.
Gators are offside for the 2nd time in the game. Somebody lined up wrong, Jim?
Well, the flag went up in a hurry. I didn't see anybody jump. Evidently, that was the call. They get another opportunity at 2nd down.
.45 left to play in the first quarter. LSU is in its 2nd offensive possession. Both teams have had to punt. Well, the wind is really whipping around this football stadium. As Leo Abel gets the call and picks up a couple of tough yards out around the 8-yard line.
Yeah, at first glance, you'd have to say that LSU running game is not going to have much success unless they can open some kind of holes at the line of scrimmage. Right now, the Gator defense dominating the interior. LSU getting no running room at all up the middle.
Ball spotted at the 13-yard line. That's where LSU is. They are third down and still need a good long ways to go to pick up their first down of the night. Daigle has protection and a wide open receiver. And the pass is caught. LSU has the first down. Scott Ray on the receiving end of the Daigle pass out to the 41-yard line.
Scott Ray escapes Fee Bartley at the line of scrimmage. He gets off very cleanly, and once he has Bartley beat, as you see him trailing right there, the safety's a little late getting over, and Daigle did a nice job of zipping the football in there.
Ray, the sophomore from Baton Rouge, with the catch. The Tigers have had a tough time running the football in their first 3 games. They average only 87 yards per game on the ground. Been a little bit more effective throwing it. There's the handoff to Abel, and he's stopped by Fee Bartley, number 44.
You know, Fee Bartley doesn't look that big. He looks so lean out on the playing field, but he's 6'3", 216 pounds. He's a big kid at linebacker, but great speed as well.
Abel got about 3 yards on the first down carry. There's Ephesians Bartley, one of the great names in college football. No question about that. Plays the Gator back position. Gators coming with the blitz, and Daigle stays on his feet and is able to dump the ball out. Nice play by the quarterback. As the Gators had great pressure, and Carlton Miles almost had himself a quarterback sack.
You know, we haven't seen the Gators blitz that much. Ron Zook pretty much plays a base defense, but this time a lot of pressure from the front 4. Harvey Thomas was in there along with Michael Brandon. Carlton Miles putting pressure up the middle.
Mike Brandon is checked out of the lineup for the Gators. Appears to be a little bit shaken up. There you see the big tackle hobbling over to the Florida sideline.
I believe Kevin Carter, number 57, who has not seen much action at all, then moved up to the second team only recently ahead of Bill Gunner, is in the game right now at right defensive end.
Third down. Another open receiver. Carter with the football. Del Spear makes the tackle, but LSU moves it into Florida territory down to the 42-yard line. Carter was the main man in the LSU attack last season offensively. He caught 9 passes against the Gators a year ago.
Del Spear really playing softly right there. That appeared to be a 3-deep defense in the secondary, but the right cornerback was well off the receiver, and that was first down was easily picked up.
LSU's second first down of this possession. And off to the fullback. That's Jermaine Williams into the lineup now for the Tigers. He picked up a yard. Tony McCoy, Brad Culpepper, the 2 inside defenders for the Gators, made the stop.
That play had the option look to the weak side. The Gators having trouble on occasion stopping the option attack. LSU did have the week off last week, and they've made a lot of personnel changes, but they probably put in a few new wrinkles on offense and defense as well.
Tigers sent 2 receivers out to the right side. And here's the option, the reverse to Carter. Nice play by Anderson to keep him from turning the corner. Myrick Anderson stayed home on that play, fortunately for the Gators, because he gave Del Spear time to come up and make the tackle.
Yeah, you can spell nice with capital letters right there, because he was out there all by himself, Myrick Anderson, and he was just able to slow him down enough where cornerback Del Spear can come out and get some help. From up here, we saw the reverse coming right away, but down on the field, no one saw it except Anderson. He was able to get out there, slow the reverse down. Here comes Del Spear finally making the tackle out of bounds.
Now, there was a penalty flag down as well. And you saw, I think, perhaps the personal foul against LSU at the tail end of that play.
Well, that really hurts them on this drive, which they've been able to move the ball in excellent fashion. A couple of key passes, a few running attempts. Here's the end of the play. Here's the late hit. There you see it. It's actually a spearing attempt, too, and just no call for that, and the officials wisely were right on top of it, and it's a 15-yard penalty against LSU.
Now, this has been sort of the story of the season for the Tigers. They've been able to move the ball occasionally against their opponents, but seem to have a breakdown, just enough of a breakdown to stop their penetration. And that's what's happened on this series.
Well, they've had trouble running this evening, but their passing game looks good.
Daigle, they set up the screen. That's Williams. And the Gators are not fooled by that play. Carlton Miles in particular smelled it very early, and Tony McCoy putting pressure on the quarterback, but LSU is going to have to punt the football away to the Gators with 8:21 left to play in the first quarter.
Yeah, David Carlton Miles, the inside linebacker, was responsible for eyeballing that back all the way, and he saw him set up for the screen and was right in his lap when the ball was delivered.
Ryan Griffith back to punt for the second time tonight. Monty Duncan stands deep at his 15-yard line. A stiff wind blowing into the face of Griffith. Gators came with a strong rush again. Duncan fumbles the football.
He was interfered with, however.
He called for a fair catch.
Mike Garrett, David, number 12, gets in his way. You're supposed to give him a cushion right there, and that wind is really playing havoc with the punt. Now, see right there, obviously a violation. The officials saw it instantly as well, and so the Gators get new life.
The officials talk it over just to make sure they get the yardage marked off properly. There's no doubt about what this call is. LSU interfered with Monty Duncan.
Monty Duncan was having a heart attack right there as that ball was swirling around in air.
Well, the fact that he was rambling around back there helped bring about the penalty flag, because Garrett wasn't sure where the ball was coming either. There you see the score with 7:47 left to play in the first period. This is the Gators' second offensive possession of the night. Eric Rett off tackle. Out to the 48. Reggie Walker makes the stop, a 10-yard carry by the sophomore running back. Already 414 yards. He's on track to get over 1,000 yards this season for the Gators if he stays healthy. That line keeps blocking like they did on this play, Jim.
Yeah, Jim Watson at guard, Big Cal Dixon, the All-American center, Isham Ishmael, the other big guard, Mark White, Tony Rowell at tackle. What they did so well against Mississippi State last week was keep them off balance, because they had a powerful running game working, and that only made Shane Matthews that much more dangerous. And right now, the Gators seem to be effective running the football here early against LSU.
The change comes from the far side of the field. And the Gators are shy of first down by about that much.
But the good news is they picked up about a little more than 9 yards on the first down attempt running the football. That'll make any head coach happy.
Already the penalties have been a factor, especially for LSU. Look at that yardage in penalties. 46 yards in penalties with 7:30 left to play in the first quarter.
And I'm sure they thought with the week off that they had, they could eliminate mistakes like that, but they've not been able to do it tonight.
They're playing with a lot of emotion tonight, and I think it's gotten the best of them on a couple of occasions. However, on the other hand, it's helped them keep this game close against the Gators. Houston is open at the 30. Out of bounds he goes at the 32-yard line. A 23-yard play. Wayne Williams there to make the tackle, but a lot of room out there for Houston to roam.
Harrison Houston was lined up way left of this offensive formation and was able to drag across the field as the 3 deep defenders were giving ground. Look at the gaping seam in the secondary right there that Houston just simply went into neutral gear and waited for Matthews to deliver the football to him. Look at those impressive numbers. 18 yards per catch on the average.
Rhett runs into a brick wall, but what a cutback the other way, and Rhett rambles to the 24. He picked up 6 yards.
David, one thing Coach Spurrier said in his post-game show last week was that Eric Rhett just gives everything he can every time he runs the football. And initially you think he's going to go down here because there's excellent defense by the Bengal Tigers, but then he bounces outside. He makes a cutback. Look at him put that arm down, trying to crawl for additional inches.
Matthews audible at the line. Looking left. He's got man-to-man coverage, and Houston open, but he overthrows him. Darryl McCorvey had single coverage against Harrison Houston, but Matthews overthrew the football, and that wind blowing at 15 miles an hour behind his back might have been a factor on that throw.
Darryl McCorvey's from Pensacola, Florida. He almost seemed to put a hand out right there to slow down the wide receiver, but Matthews had the time. There was a blitz, some pressure from his right side that the Gator offense picked up extremely well. He just simply overthrew the receiver. McCorvey had been beaten.
Houston and Sullivan are wide to the left on 3rd and 5. The draw to Rhett. And Rhett is stopped by Walker, the linebacker. Reggie Walker, a former walk-on academic All-Southeastern Conference player. Now a junior for the LSU Tigers. Just a hard-nosed, hard-working young football player. Made a big play for LSU there on the draw play. He kept his ground and made the tackle in the open field against Eric Rhett. Arden Krzyzewski has fond memories, no doubt, of this football stadium as he lines up to kick what would be a 42-yard field goal. Johnny Nichols, the holder for the Gators. The kick is good. Florida draws first blood from Baton Rouge. 5:29 left to play in the first period. It's the Gators 3, the Tigers nothing.
Eric Rhett inside the 15 to the 5. Touchdown, Eric Rhett. Second down for the Gators. 2 for a first, 3 for a touch. Willie McClendon gets it all.
The Gators collide with the Tennessee Volunteers on Saturday, October 12th at 11:30 p.m. on Sports Channel.
Arden Krzyzewski hits a 42-yard field goal and puts Florida up 3-0 against LSU. 5:29 left in the first quarter.
You talked about those pleasant memories. You remember a kick here that he made, what, 2 years ago?
Yeah, 2 years ago he kicked the winning field goal with no time on the clock to beat LSU.
That's right. The officials weren't sure if they were going to give the Gators time, and there was absolutely no time on the clock when he made that kick.
That was probably the highlight of the season for the Gators 2 years ago. And you know, interestingly, a footnote to that, it was also Galen Hall's last game as head coach. He was relieved of his duties immediately following the game for the alleged NCAA infractions. Let's go down on the field to Steve Babick. Steve?
You know, one thing both the kickers and the passers will have to battle is a wind coming from the north, but it's coming from the north, but in this bowl, it just swirls around. So if you're Arden Krzyzewski or Shane Matthews, you really have to watch where that wind's going because it's coming from the north, like I said, but once it gets in this bowl, it's going all the way around in here, different ways. 68 degrees down here. What a beautiful night for football. And by the way, Michael Brandon had a banged up leg. He's okay.
This will be Fuller from the 1. Out to the 24-yard line. A 22-yard return and a tackle by Greg Diamond. 5 plays on the scoring drive. It bogged down on 3rd and 5. Rhett stuffed on the draw play, and the Gators had to settle for 3. LSU, its 3rd possession of the first period. On their 2nd possession, they drove the ball into Florida territory, but then a personal foul moved them back across the 50. On first down, this is Pegues, the ball carrier, and he's tackled by Mike Brandon out at the 26 or 27-yard line.
David, obviously a new coaching staff here at LSU this year. The offensive coordinator is a guy that you and I have seen before, though, George Hafner, who spent the decade of the 80s with the Georgia Bulldogs. And, you know, he'd love to get some Gator Hide tonight. But George Hafner is now the offensive coordinator on Curly Hallman's staff. There you see Curly Hallman with the ball cap on.
Coach Hafner is acknowledged to be one of the top offensive coaches in the country, college football. That pass intended for Pegues, and it was thrown down around his ankles in a tough play. He couldn't come up with the football. Tim Paulk had pretty good coverage, but the ball was thrown too low for Pegues to make the catch.
Timmy Paulk, what an exciting ball player. He's just got all the talent in the world, and as a senior, he's given a lot of leadership to this ball club in trying to get this Gator defense revved up as we look at the young man from Miami, Florida.
He has blocked 4 punts in his Gator career. He scored 2 touchdowns on pass interceptions. Daigle throwing. Nicely timed route run by Jacob, but then he couldn't catch the football. Kennedy in single coverage out on that corner.
Jesse Daigle did a beautiful job right there. It couldn't have been thrown any nicer, but as you mentioned, Jacob just simply drops the football. That'll kill any drive, any place.
Those are plays that you've got to make against a team like Florida, against anybody. But if you're going to beat a good football team like the Gators, you got to make those simple catches, and LSU has dropped a couple tonight.
And those guys are experienced too. Again, they were returning quite a few guys at the so-called skilled positions, the wide receivers, running back, quarterback, that type of thing.
The Gators put a hard rush on again, but again Griffith gets it away. And Duncan, well, he's battling that wind tonight, and he held on nicely to make the catch and step out of bounds at the 36. 36-yard kick. William Gaines almost blocked that punt.
Looks like Candlestick Park. Remember those days when the swirling wind out in San Francisco and the ball players couldn't find the baseball.
Speaking of Candlestick Park, how about the Braves wrapping up the National League West earlier today?
With some help from the San Francisco Giants.
Right. Shane Matthews ties his head coach for third place in Gator history and touchdown passes. He'd like to surpass him tonight. Rhett, the cutback, and he runs right into the LSU defender. Looked like William Crowell turned him back inside, and Ricardo Washington, linebacker, made the stop. I'm sure Steve Spurrier wouldn't mind watching Shane Matthews move past him on the touchdown list tonight also.
Yeah, that's the least of his worries. He had his day in the sun as a player. Now he's trying to establish himself as one of the country's great college coaches, and he's well on his way to doing that.
The Gators come with two tight ends. George Rushing checks in. He's lined up on the left side. Jackson lined up on the right. What a fake by Matthews, and Houston is lonesome at the 42-yard line of LSU. Why, he sucked in the whole stadium on that fake.
Yeah, we've seen that play before, like last week against Mississippi State. What's so nice about it is that Coach Spurrier and the Gators don't get greedy. They're just trying to get Houston down for a big game, not a big bomb, and he simply runs right in front of Robbie Green, and he had all kinds of room right there. They were looking to pick up 25, 30 yards on that play, and I think that's exactly what they did.
3:30 left in the first quarter. The Gators leading 3-0 and marching against LSU at Death Valley. Eric Rhett swarmed by the purple-clad defenders. Reggie Walker was the first man there, and Joe Merrow, the cornerback on the left side for the Tigers, also came up to help out on the tackle. You know, this LSU football team, a hard thing to figure out. We've been talking about it a lot in our pregame, and even Jim, you and I, all day long trying to figure out what's happened to this LSU football team. They have a lot of people back from last year that played critical roles for them, but now they're a second, third team. They've made a lot of changes the last couple of weeks trying to find the right combination.
Yeah, incredibly, they were 3 touchdown underdogs in this ball game.
There's the flanker screen to Sullivan. The ball popped out. Was his knee down? Apparently not. LSU football. Merrow recovered the fumble.
It's Alonzo Sullivan on the reception, the quick hitch screen as he comes back into the middle where all the traffic is. He simply loses the football as the defenders strip him of it, and it's an excellent call. LSU really dodges a cannonball right there as the Gators were moving with some significant ease on offense, but the turnover gives the ball back to LSU. Nothing.
LSU trying to run the football. They tried to hurry up the offense there. Gators managed to make the stop on Fuller. Big Tony McCoy, number 71, the senior from Orlando out of Evans High School. There to make the stop. He had a big game last week against Mississippi State in his hometown.
Yeah, they list Tony at 6'2", but I don't believe he's that tall. I think he's more like 6 foot. He's like a fire plug out there. Great leverage, and that's important for a defensive tackle to have.
Daigle scrambling. He ran right into 71.
Oh, did he ever? And Tony hit him nose to nose right there, and he says, hey, come on, Gator fans, give me a cheer on that one, and walks over to the 5,000 or 7,000 orange-clad visitors that are here this evening. Pressure by Culpepper initially, wasn't it? Yeah.
Hello.
Ooh. Nose to nose.
Good looking guy. Big smile on his face. Now with 2.5 quarterback sacks for the season. 1:22 left in the period. The Gators, did they jump? That was Paulk on the blitz. He almost came across too early, but didn't. And the pass is incomplete, intended for Jacob. Jacob wanted a flag thrown on Larry Kennedy, but was not going to get the call.
No, Larry Kennedy was fighting for his life right there. He knew he was beaten, was trying to close rapidly on Wesley Jacob, number 9, who sprinted down the sideline. LSU doing a nice job of picking up a blitz by the inside linebackers. Timmy Paulk initially putting a little pressure on Daigle, but he really got the ball out there, but just a little bit overthrown to Jacob. But poor Larry Kennedy, he was fighting for his life on that pass play.
We're in the first quarter, and Griffith is punting for the 4th time already. The Gators have put Rush on and again, but don't get the kick. Not a good one, though, by Griffith. And the Gators will have the ball in LSU territory at the Tiger 45-yard line. A 24-yard punt by Brian Griffith. And remember, again, the wind is a factor in this game. The team moving right to left, as you look at it here, is at a disadvantage.
And evidently it's more severe than we anticipated. We were down on the field earlier, but it seems like that wind's really picked up considerably more, and LSU having all kinds of problems with their punting game facing that wind.
Willie Jackson is in, split wide to the right. Matthews is going the other side for Houston, and he overthrows the receiver again. And you wonder if the wind at his back is a factor.
Well, we get so spoiled watching Shane Matthews play quarterback. Rarely does he throw a poor pass, but that time Corey Raymond had gotten beat at the right side of the LSU's defense, and Matthews overthrows the ball. .59 seconds left in the first quarter. The Gators 3, the LSU Tigers nothing. Willie McClendon now the tailback, and McClendon fights his way down to the 38-yard line of LSU. Tackle made by Ravel Rose Swan, number 35 for the LSU Tigers. That'll bring up 3rd down and a couple for the Gators. McClendon, the backup tailback, would be starting in a lot of backfields across the country. The senior from Jacksonville, 4 yards per carry. Only 25 attempts this year, with Rhett getting the bulk of the action at tailback for the Gators. And he's a fine player. And he's looking for the first down. Not this time. Corey Raymond with the tackle on the corner. Terrell Jackson, the Gators tight end on the left side of that formation, did a great job at the point of attack, but they just couldn't stop Raymond, the defensive back, from coming up so quickly in support to stop that play.
The Gators won't get another playoff. That's the end of the first period. Florida will have 4th down coming up, and they show no signs of bringing on the punt team. So after one period of play from Death Valley in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, the Gators 3, LSU nothing.
Well, the wind doesn't seem to be affecting the flag that much, although it's pretty stiff breeze, as we can see. I believe it's much more breezy down closer to the surface of the field than it's showing with that flag right there.
That national championship in 1958, LSU 11-0 that season, had the great Billy Cannon.
One of my heroes.
Yep.
There's another hero, Steve Spurrier.
Came on a little bit later than the 58 LSU edition, and he enjoyed a lot of success against the LSU Tigers in his playing career for the Florida Gators. Was 3-0 as quarterback, and one of his teams in '66 had a big guy by the name of Yarborough that beat LSU here at Death Valley.
Yeah, Steve Spurrier won the Heisman Trophy that year. We came in and beat the Bengal Tigers 28-7. That was a highlight I'll always recall.
Second quarter begins. The Gators go for it on 4th down. Penalty flags are down.
I I don't know that they called the Bengal Tigers, though. They might be calling the Gator offensive line for coming out of their stance and applauding. I think that's what they did. The Gator offensive lineman thought there was contact made by the Bengal Tiger defenders, and they came out of their stance and started to applaud, and that's when the flag came out by the umpire. Let's see what the ultimate call is right now.
Cal Dixon was the offender for the Gators, the fine center. I think he thought that there was contact. We might be able to get another look at it, and I believe it was Dixon. It might not have been.
There you see the defender move.
Oh, that's right.
Across the line of scrimmage, but he did not make contact, and it was Isham Ishmael who made some moving. Dixon snapped the ball, but he kept it in his hand. He didn't have anybody to take the exchange as Shane Matthews had moved back in a shotgun formation. But I think that was a good call.
So Florida winds up doing what it probably was going to do all along, and that's punt the football away into the wind now. Gets a good Gator roll.
Oh, look at that.
And Florida downs it at the 2. Fine kick by the freshman from Lake City. A 42-yard punt backs up LSU, the Tigers football, at their 2-yard line.
What's so impressive about Edge is his net punting, you know. Kick the ball and either have them return it for insignificant yardage or have it simply die, and that's what it did right there. It died just outside the 1-yard line. Just a beautiful job by Edge. LSU having all kinds of problems with field position tonight. Now they got the win at their back. That's the good news, but the bad news is that they're on their own 1-yard line.
This is Vincent Fuller, and they find a little breathing room as Will White brings down the LSU tailback at the 8-yard line, a gain of about 6.
Yeah, it almost looks like there's going to be a safety made, but the block is made at the line of scrimmage. Then he gets a little bit of daylight, and you almost think he might break it completely down the sideline untouched. But that was one of the most interesting 7-yard plays you'll ever see.
Beginning to get the feeling that this is not the same LSU football team that played against Georgia and Texas A&M and Vanderbilt 2 weekends ago. Tigers are playing inspired tonight. Nice surge by the LSU offensive line. The ball carried out to around the 11-yard line by Fuller.
Well, if you'll recall last year's ball game against LSU, physically LSU was in that entire ball game. They did a great job offensively and defensively. They just got killed with some gigantic turnovers, and that big score the Gators ran up against LSU last year was really not an indication of how tough that game really was.
No, they lost 2 fumbles in the first half, and the Gators blocked a kick. And those 3 turnovers resulted in 21 points, first half points for the Gators, and Florida only had to move the ball 40 yards to pick up those 3 touchdowns. That was last year in Gainesville. Florida did not dominate LSU in winning 34-8. Tigers need a couple of inches to keep this drive going. Daigle almost stumbled down as he took the snap, but Fuller got the first down. Harvey Thomas on the stop, but the Tigers get a big first down to bring that ball from their 2-yard line and now have it at their 13. There's an injured Gator on the field. It's Mike Brandon.
Michael Brandon, who's had a groin injury, and this time it looks like they're taking a peek at his knee.
This is where the Gators just hold their breath week after week. This is a very good football team along the front line.
Well, you'll recall,
not a lot of experience depth beyond the starting unit.
Yeah, David, you'll recall Michael Brandon had to take himself out of the game a little earlier because he was hurting, and Gators had sent in Kevin Carter.
Steve Spurrier obviously aware of which player is down on the field. Brandon can't put any weight at all on that right leg. Kevin Carter, the freshman from Tallahassee, will check in. for Mike Brandon. 13 minutes and 40 seconds left to play in the first half. It's Florida 3, LSU nothing. LSU is first down, and Daigle underthrows Marcus Carter at the 17-yard line. Carter was open.
Yeah, he was. The Gators had 8 men crowded near the line of scrimmage. Only 3 defenders in coverage in the secondary, and Marcus Carter with his quick out route right there was open, and they could have picked up easily 5 or 6 yards, but they got to get the ball to him. That's getting open's only half the battle. The quarterback's got to get it to you.
That was Florida's defensive coordinator, Ron Zook. Second and 10. Fuller, good blocking on the line. A linebacker, Carlton Miles, on the stop near the 18, a gain of about 5. Curly Holman engineered some big upset victories at Southern Mississippi in his 3 years as head coach there.
Last year at Auburn and at Alabama, Southern Mississippi won both those ball games. That's what brought him to the attention of the folks here at LSU as they sought to hire a football coach that could take their program to the top again.
Southern Miss did it to Auburn again today, 10-9 at Auburn.
Yeah.
Culpepper chasing Daigle. Jacob with the catch, or was he? Inbounds or out? Out of bounds, say the official.
Or do they?
I think we have a disagreement amongst the officials.
Or, yeah, they're looking at where he perhaps went out after he caught the ball. I think they're giving him possession. Daigle was scrambling for his life. No, they're going to go back to the line of scrimmage, it seems. Jesse Daigle gets all kinds of pressure from Brad Culpepper, who beat the block immediately. Harvey Thomas lost containment, allowing Daigle to get outside. There's the excellent catch and coverage. Will White making the hit.
Tiger Stadium crowd displeased with the call.
In college, only 1 foot necessary inbounds. Pro football, you have to have both in.
Brian Griffith with the wind at his back for the first time tonight. His 5th punt already. Monty Duncan stands deep but around his 40-yard line. A little more distance that time for Griffith. Duncan turns in about a 4 or 5 yard return. After a 40-yard kick by Griffith, Florida's football at its own 48-yard line.
You know, Monty Duncan's going to ask for a vote, I think, on these punt returns. Every time the Gators have 10 men lined up at the line of scrimmage, he has no help back there at all. He's all by himself almost every time. Sometimes a punt return team will at least drop back 2 or 3 blockers and try and call for a return, but so far they're going after the punt. Duncan's all by himself.
What a hole opened up for Eric Redd. He blows across the 50 to the 45-yard line of LSU. And Reggie Walker, the linebacker, number 56, on the stop.
Sirhan Stacy, the only running back in the Southeastern Conference with bigger numbers than Eric Redd.
Gators come with 2 tight ends now as they come up to the line of scrimmage. Gators have had a big advantage in field position, but have turned that into only a 3-0 lead. The cut back by Rhett. Walker on the stop. Rhett got the first down at the 43.
Yeah, Reggie Walker, inside linebacker, doing a real nice job, and Swan also was over there helping out. That's that counter play the Gators have had success with earlier this season, especially in the second half against Alabama, where Eric Rhett just picked up huge chunks of yardage. But obviously LSU has access to game films, and they're ready to stop that play.
Gators run the football right up the gut of the LSU defense, and Rhett carries it to the 39-yard line.
Right behind Isham Ishmael, big number 77, and Cal Dixon, the All-American center, just doing a beautiful job at the point of attack right there. There was no doubt about picking up the first down right there. You know, Coach Rich McGeorge, who we heard from in our pregame show, really wants the Gator offense to click, but especially he wants to be proud of that ground game and be able to rip significant yardage out when Eric Rhett has the football.
That's Sullivan at the 20-yard line of LSU. Swan on to stop.
Alonzo Sullivan, the biggest wide receiver that the Florida Gators have at 6'3", finds a seam in the secondary right there, and one of the reasons he was able to find that seam was because of loose coverage in the secondary and great protection up front. As we look at the receptions, at Sullivan with 12 catches so far this year. No touchdowns, however.
The counter run again by Eric Rhett.
How'd he do that? He just ducked his head and escaped 3 or 4 tacklers.
You know, he reminds you a little bit more of Emmitt Smith every week you see him.
Yeah, that's
a lot of good balance. He runs low to the ground like Emmitt does.
That was Rich McGeorge, the line coach, yelling instructions to his team. He did exactly an Emmitt Smith duck right there as he ducked under the defenders as they were swarming to the football. They couldn't find him.
The ball is at the 13-yard line of LSU. Rhett, one of the top receivers in the Southeastern Conference, gets his first catch of the night. Wayne Williams denies him the end zone as the tackle is made inside the 4.
That's a perfect example of what makes this Gator offense so difficult to stop. Look at this. It's just a simple out route by the back, and he's wide open. That's such a great route in the possession offense that Coach Steve Spurrier has installed, and it keeps this drive alive.
There's not enough people to cover everybody.
That's right. That's the secret.
2 tight ends. 1 back. Rhett. His knee went down at about the 6. They'll spot it farther back than that at the 7. Great penetration by Washington.
Yeah, Ricardo Washington, that play had no chance at all as LSU won the battle there. It's a guessing game between the defensive coordinators and the offensive coordinators as we see Ricardo Washington.
You know, not only did he intercept a pass and send it back for a touchdown, but he also forced a Vanderbilt fumble at the LSU 2-yard line with less than 2 minutes left last week to save the victory for the Tigers. So he's a big play man for LSU. The draw play to the fullback, McNabb, and he just gets back to the line of scrimmage.
Well, while we're talking about defensive coordinators, it's Mike Bugar, who was a defensive line coach with the Gators, as we look at Coach Bugar right there with the headset on behind Curly Hallman. Mike Bugar was the defensive line coach at Florida with Charlie Pell in 1980, 81, 82. And right now he's the defensive coordinator of the Bengal Tigers.
That's Mike Bugar. Just dropped the microphone back down in front of his face. Big 3rd down play.
And listen to the intensity of the noise level.
Pressure from LSU. Double coverage on Willie Jackson. No penalty flag. 4th down.
Great job by LSU in coverage in the secondary, also putting heat on Matthews. There you see the rush by the 4-down lineman. Double coverage on touchdown Willie Jackson right there. They've seen the game films, and they know that Matthews likes to go to Willie Jackson in that territory, and they weren't about to let Willie Jackson beat him to the corner.
Krzyzewski already has a 42-yard field goal tonight. This one much closer from the 23, but into a strong wind. 23-yard field goal attempt by Krzyzewski, good. Gators settled for 3 points for the 2nd time tonight after driving deep into LSU territory. So with 7:42 left in the first half, it's Florida 6, LSU nothing. Gators kick another field goal. Krzyzewski has all 6 points in his football game. Steve Spurrier's ball club leading LSU 6-0. 7:42 left to play in the second quarter. Let's go down on the field to Steve Babbitt.
Last time LSU had the ball, you saw that Michael Brandon had to go out. They looked at his right knee on the sideline and felt they had to take him into the locker room to get a better look at it and have a re-examination. So the word on Michael Brandon is it's a right knee, but we don't know how bad it is or if it's going to keep him out the first half or even further than that. And of course, you got Kevin Carter in there, a true freshman with a lot of talent, but a freshman with not much experience. Let's see how that affects the Gator defense. Back upstairs.
All right, Steve, we'll let you keep us posted on that because that's extremely bad news if Michael Brandon is in fact hurt to the extent that he might, miss the rest of the season. Let's hope not.
He's had a lot of leg muscle problems throughout the season. Gators kick this thing low underneath the wind. And Fuller comes out of the LSU into the football of the 29, or under the 33-34 yard line. A 26-yard return. Carlton Pouncey made the stop for the Gators.
I got a little too excited there. I thought he lost the football. As we take a look at the last Gator scoring drive, David.
10 plays, 45 yards. But Florida hasn't been able to put it in the end zone against the LSU Tigers. In front of a large crowd, not a sellout crowd, which is unusual for Louisiana State University. McCoy drops Daigle at the 21-yard line. Boy, was he back there quick or what?
Yeah, he certainly was. Tony McCoy was working on Darren Landry, an experienced veteran offensive guard. Watch him beat Landry's block right there with the outside rush and the speed to close quickly on Daigle right there gets him the sack. But Darren Landry, the offensive guard, had no chance stopping Tony McCoy right there. They used that leverage to quickly beat the offensive guard, then came up with a sack.
Third sack of the night for the Gators. Daigle's got nowhere to go. They left him hanging out to dry over on the left side. Kevin Carter was the first man there. McCoy also got there quickly.
Boy, he was all by himself, wasn't he? But I think he might have been the one that made the mistake, David. Perhaps he went the wrong way. Yeah, well, we don't know. We don't know if the back made the mistake or he made the mistake, but boy, he paid for it, didn't he? Look at that.
Thomas eventually made the tackle, but it was Carter, the freshman, 57, that turned the quarterback back to his right.
Two successive losses in yardage on those two attempts.
The Tigers, a desperation third down. They set up the screen to Fuller. Fuller got away from Culpepper, but couldn't escape the grasp of freshman Larry Kennedy.
Brad Culpepper, so intelligent right there. He recognized the screen as he was in his rush, broke off from his rushing attempt, and almost ran the back down from behind. Watch Brad Culpepper, the defensive tackle, in the middle of your screen. Well, you're not going to quite see him, but there he comes. He's closing right now, and he's almost going to come up with a trip and a tackle right here, but
look at Landry, 76, pull his arms back after almost reaching out to grab Culpepper from behind. Make sure the officials know that he didn't commit a violation there. 5:38 left in the second quarter. Griffith, his 6th punt of the night.
Whoa, that's a rocket.
Wind at his back. Duncan is smothered at the 26-yard line. Big number 54, Corey White, made the stop for the LSU Tigers. A 52-yard kick, a 7-yard return by Duncan.
Oh, that was a beautiful punt, and obviously a lot of confidence when the wind's at your back, but he really unloaded on that one. Well, David, as you mentioned, the Gators have been moving the football, but they've yet to rack up many points, and let's see what they can do on this drive here.
Dexter McNabb is the only setback behind Matthews. And the pass is complete. Ricardo Washington on the stop. Eric Rett on the receiving end.
I I don't believe the Gators have gone with their no-huddle offense this evening, have they? They consistently have gone into the huddle to get instructions from Coach Spurrier along the sidelines.
Second down. And the draw play to Renton, ran across the 35 to the 36. He's about a yard short of the first down. Reggie Walker has been in on a lot of tackles already tonight for the Tigers, and he got another one there.
Yeah, those two inside linebackers, Walker and Washington, they're going to have a busy schedule all evening long. Here's Big Cal Dixon working on the nose guard right here. Scott Wharton. Wharton loses that battle.
Boy, there was just no penetration on the right side of Florida's line. LSU is doing a whale of a job. I think Washington closed the gap first. Maybe Corey White, 54, also there. And also Marshall. Saw him in your screen. The Gators are now 1 for 6 in third down conversions if they didn't get a first down here, and I don't think they did.
LSU doing a great job right there shutting down that running game. Swarming to the football. Excellent team defense right there as they moved quickly and converged on the ball carrier, and now the Gators are forced to punt against that stiff wind. Let's see what Edge does in his first attempt against the wind.
Todd Kinchin we've seen very little of tonight.
Yes,
he's back to return to punt.
Yeah, he's a real all-American type of guy too.
Edge kicks it low, end over end. Kinchin from the 36. Lex Smith got there quickly and dragged him down at the 40-yard line. 29-yard punt into that wind. A 4-yard return by Todd Kinchin. 3:18 left to play in the second quarter. It's Florida 6, LSU nothing. The Tigers football at their 40-yard line. This is decent field position for them tonight. And Carter with the catch. Kennedy, the freshman, on the tackle at the 50-yard line. That'll be good for a Tiger first down.
Larry Kennedy finds himself man for man on Marcus Carter right there as the Gators tried to put pressure with the blitz from their inside linebackers. Kennedy luckily is able to hang on, make the tackle on Carter. Kennedy really does a nice job of closing quickly while the ball's in the air, but then fights for his life as he finally makes a tackle on Carter, the elusive wide receiver.
The draw play to Williams. And Williams is inside the 40-yard line of the Gator 39. And play gets 10 more for the LSU Tigers.
Well, when Jesse Daigle has success throwing the football, other things open up to him, obviously. That time the draw. Daigle really seems to be in control of this Bengal offense, especially on this drive. LSU really looking good right here.
Time stop for the measurement. Couple of inches short. 2 minutes 35 seconds left in the second quarter. Florida holding on to a 6-0 lead against the LSU Tigers. With a week off, they look like a different football team than in their first 3 games. Daigle's pass intended for Kinchin is incomplete at the 31. Kinchin has yet to catch a pass tonight. He did not start 2 weeks ago against Vanderbilt, did not get a starting assignment tonight.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. This kid is one of the best players we've ever seen in the Southeastern Conference. That time he drew the attention of 2 Gator defenders, however. Myrick Anderson on the inside. Larry Kennedy was deep.
Well, they had a play to fool around with on second down and inches. Now they have third down. Still need a couple of inches for the first down and did not get it.
Oh, I don't know. He might have perhaps spun loose for inches. He didn't need much. Let's see where they marked the ball. Looks like they got a favorable spot. Or did they? No, it is fourth down. I thought he made the inch or two. Who made that tackle? Was it Eddie Robinson, number 41?
I believe it might have been Robinson closing the gap on Fuller.
He's kind of the forgotten inside linebacker. Carlton Miles, Timmy Polk get a lot of publicity, but Ed Robinson, excellent player himself.
Well, the Tigers have called timeout with 2:11 left in the second quarter, and Florida leading the LSU ball club 6-0. Let's go back down to the sideline and Steve Babick. Steve?
David and Jim, bad news for the Gator defense. They're going to have to go the rest of the night without number 97, Michael Brandon. The right knee, serious enough where they're going to keep him out the rest of the game, take him back to Gainesville for reevaluation, and then they'll know his progress from that point on. So Michael Brandon's done, and he passes the torch on to Kevin Carter, at least for tonight. Back upstairs.
Well, that was going to happen eventually, but the Gators had hoped later rather than sooner.
Bill Gunner also in as a substitute for Brandon. Gunner number 93.
Gunner's on the field now. He's a junior out of Bradenton. Was in on a couple of big plays in last week's game against Mississippi State. Had a quarterback sack against the Bulldogs in the fourth quarter. Well, here's the big fourth down play with 2:11 left in the second quarter. Williams, the fullback, and he drove across the 40. We'll see where his knee went down.
Yeah, he got hit behind the line of scrimmage. Where did his knee go down, David? That's the key. I don't know that he ever had enough momentum to move across the 40, did he?
Florida takes over the football.
Oh, let's see what we can find out right here at the interior. There's Brad Culpepper, who stuffs the plate. Tony McCoy, number 71, makes the tackle right at the point of attack. It looked like he broke through cleanly as he shot the gap on short yardage.
A big defensive stand for the Gators with 2:02 left in the second quarter. Florida sets up the screen. McClendon drops the football.
Tried to run before he got it. The critical mistake that sometimes a receiver will make. Yeah, he's saying, hey, guys, I'm sorry. I tried to take off there. I was going to get one of my chances and forgot to catch the football first.
That'll bring up 2nd and 10. The Gators from their 40-yard line. The clock stopped with 1:56 left in the period. Sullivan and Everett are wide to the left. Matthews. And Willie Jackson made the catch. He stumbled a bit, but managed to catch the football. A 14-yard play and a Florida first down.
Wayne Williams, number 23, is complaining that he thinks the ball hits the turf, but Matthews, as he breaks out of the pocket, underthrows the ball a little bit, but touchdown Willie Jackson comes up with an excellent catch.
Pass thrown quickly, and this one is incomplete. Intended for Sullivan.
That time the ball was thrown lowly as well. Alonzo Sullivan, the big 6'3" receiver, couldn't get down low enough to come up with the catch right there. Matthews, though, I think is showing the confidence that he thinks he can move the ball in the air as Coach Spurrier is signaling out the play to him.
1:35 on the clock. 2nd and 10.
Yeah, they're in a hurry-up offense right here as we wind down this first half.
Great pressure by 95 Mark Boutte. Trey Everett, the intended receiver, but Matthew was running for his life back around the 40-45 yard line. Boutte makes his presence felt.
Yeah, LSU doing a nice job in zone coverage right there, and Matthews decides to roll to his left, actually runs right into Boutte's area and enables the big guy to put pressure on him as you look at the huge defensive end.
Now the Gators, who have 3 timeouts remaining, elect to use one of them with 1 minute 28 seconds left in the first half. Florida, a 42-yard field goal by Arden Krzyzewski, a 23-yard field goal by Krzyzewski. That's all the scoring to this point in the game. The Gators have not been able to put the ball into the end zone, and you can give Lots of credit to the LSU defense, Jim. They've played a marvelous first half.
Yeah, Florida's had some success as they move the football, but they just can't find that consistency that they need to punch the ball into the end zone, especially running the football. They've run from time to time with some success. Matthews obviously thinks he can throw the ball at any time against anybody, and well, he can, but LSU just putting the brakes on the Gator offense tonight and not allowing them in that end zone. And you're talking about a team that is one of the highest scoring teams in the country on average, the Florida Gators.
Mike Boogar, the defensive coordinator, and he's got to be happy about the way his team has played.
Yeah, he's got to be real happy.
The Gators only 1 out of 6 third down conversions in this game, and this will be a tough one because they need 10 yards. Matthews will try to run for it himself. He's got the first down and finds a soft spot to lie down at about the 31-yard line.
Yeah, we don't see that play very often. I can't recall seeing Matthews run the quarterback draw, but they had a 3-man rush, drop back 8 men in coverage. There is a flag on the play. Was he hit late? It didn't seem like he was. Sometimes they give those quarterbacks extra protection. Oh, they're going to call it. It wasn't obvious as Shane Matthews moves down the football, down the field. Was it, David? Yeah, I guess it was. Oh, I didn't see that initially.
That penalizes LSU and gives the Gators the ball at the 17-yard line after the mark-off.
Was that Marshall?
Yeah, Anthony Marshall with the late hit with the spear by the helmet.
Yeah, that was ugly. Uncalled for. Really hurt his team right there, giving the Gators additional yardage.
Matthews changing the play. Shane has to settle for the short man, McClendon. And McClendon settles for about 7 yards down to the 10-yard line of LSU.
They caught that ball about 2 yards beyond the line of scrimmage, picked up the additional 5 with his running ability and determination as he cut back against the grain.
Clock at 41 seconds and ticking down in the second period. Second down for the Gators. And they go with the draw play to McClendon. McClendon carries the football to the 5. 27 seconds left, and now the Gators.
Oh, they're going to call another late hit. Willie McClendon was wrapped up by 3 or 4 LSU defenders, David, and they've flagged LSU for another late hit.
That stops the clock also. That's a double problem for the Tigers. Not only do they give up the yardage.
Let's see if we can pick up the number as McClendon is wrapped up right there. The whistle perhaps is already blown. Was it Washington again?
I don't think so. I'm not sure exactly who it was.
Wayne
23,
Williams.
Wayne Williams.
Oh, that really hurts LSU. Critically important as this clock is ticking right now. 16-15. The Gators need to punch this thing in there.
10 seconds left in the period.
I don't know that Matthews sees the clock.
5 seconds left in the quarter, and now the Gators call timeout with 4 seconds left in the period.
He didn't see the clock, and Coach Spurrier is saying, Shane, look at the clock. They wound about 6 or 7 ticks down on that clock as Matthews was leisurely looking around his offensive formation.
Not a happy camper is Steve Spurrier.
See, he thought dead ball. Did you read his lips? He said, I thought it was a dead ball, and the clock was stopped. But it wasn't, and now here comes the field goal team.
Krzyzewski will try to kick through his 3rd of the night. And they've been shorter with each kick. 42 yards, 23 yards. And now this one from 19 yards out. Right in front of the sticks. The snap was high, but placed down nicely by Johnny Nichols.
Oh, Johnny Nichols did a great job right there.
Krzyzewski is now a perfect 3 for 3 in the field goal department. And that's all the scoring in the game as the second period ends with our score, Florida 9, the LSU Tigers nothing. The second half is just about ready to begin from Death Valley. Florida will get the football to start the third period. And LSU will kick the ball away. Florida leading 9-0. And the Tigers' Pedro Suarez kicks it to the 4-yard line. Freshman Larry Kennedy brings it out to the 21. And that's where the Gators will have their first possession of the second half. 17-yard return by Kennedy. We are early in the third period. Florida 9, LSU nothing. Shane Matthews did not have a memorable first half or a forgettable first half of football here at Tiger Stadium. And LSU defense just swarming, coming up with one big play after another in the first half. Handoff is to the fullback, Dexter McNabb, and that was a nice surge by the Gator offensive line. It pushed the Tiger defense back 5 yards off the football on the snap, Jim.
Yeah, earlier in the ball game, matter of fact, I think on the Gators' first offensive opportunity of the ball game tonight, they had excellent surge on the running game, and I think Coach Spurrier thinks that from time to time he might get away from the running game too early, and so right now they're coming back trying to win that battle at the line of scrimmage.
Gain up of about 6 yards on first down. That pass is dropped. Alonzo Sullivan couldn't put his mitts on it.
Yeah, it was Willie McClendon earlier who dropped the ball as he attempted to run before he caught it. That time it was Alonzo Sullivan's turn, the wide receiver. You can't get too antsy. You got to look the ball into your hands. That's what the wide receiver coaches are always saying. And it's something you absolutely have to do. Catch the ball first.
An apparent passing down for the Gators. Matthews is 8 for 17 for 111 yards to this point in the game. He's got McNabb, and McNabb is going to need to break a tackle or two to get a first down, and he does to the 35. Ray Adams tripped him up.
Initially, Dexter McNabb was short of the first down marker, but he looked the ball right into his jersey, then made an excellent cut back against the flow of the defense to pick up that first down. You know, he's an underrated receiver coming out of the backfield. Generally, we highlight the tailbacks, Rhett and McClendon, but McNabb also excellent catching the football.
Eric Rhett picks up 5 to the 40. Boutte throws him to the turf.
Well, we talked about Eric Rhett fighting for inches as Mark Boutte threw him. He let go of him, and he spun forward for an additional yard or two. You just can't let go of that young running back, or he'll fight for that additional foot, that additional yard.
Rhett now up to 48 yards on 13 carries for the evening. Gators keep it on the ground. Well, the yardage is tough to come by down there against the LSU defense. Rhett hammers it out to the 43.5. Daryl McCorvey on the stop, and Rhett is still down on the field.
And there's also a Bengal Tiger injured on the field.
They're both okay. Brian Madden, number 57, going to tiptoe away, but Rhett got up, moved quickly back to the Gator huddle. There's the numbers on Rhett to this point. Gators need about a yard to pick up first down on their first possession of the third quarter. Leading LSU 9-0. David Steele and Jim Yarborough. Glad to be with you tonight from Death Valley. Penalty flags down. Sullivan has the football and a first down, but let's check the flag.
Yeah, the backs got confused on which one was going to go left, which one was going to go right. Shane Matthews didn't realize there was confusion behind him and asked for the snap. Really, Shane Matthews thinks his backs are already set after he makes this checkoff, but you see both of them confused on which direction to go, and they're not set in time. Really, that was the back's fault. Matthews doesn't have eyes behind his head. He didn't know they were not set.
So now a different situation altogether on 3rd and 6. Almost picked off by Walker. Matthews had Monty Duncan wide open in the left flat. He ran it down and out. But Matthews threw into heavy LSU coverage, and now the Gators have to punt the ball away.
Now that LSU defense continues to impress, shutting down this high-powered Gator offense once again here early in the third quarter.
Matthews with a wind at his back. And Kinchin backpedaling. That's not the way you'd like to catch the football on a punt, but he still manages about 6 yards on the return. 41-yard kick. Officially a 7-yard return. Harold Monk made the tackle. So the freshman does a nice job once again for the Gators special teams. Time stopped. 12-11 left to play in the third quarter, and Florida leading 9-0. LSU's first possession of the third quarter. They have 2 receivers to the left, 1 receiver to the right, and the running backs in the I formation. Vincent Fuller tripped up by Carlton Miles at the 24-yard line.
LSU trying to spread the Gator defense out on that occasion with 3 wide receivers, and then coming back with a run to the short side of the field. If they can spread the Gator defense out initially and then maintain their block for an instant or two, they might find a seam and be able to get their own running game going. But this Gator defense really not allowing LSU to run the football tonight.
On the option, the handoff goes to the fullback, Jermaine Williams. And he gets a couple of tough yards. LSU, we mentioned earlier, averaging less than 100 yards per game rushing, and they've had very little success tonight against the Gators. LSU has done most of its scoring this year in the third and fourth periods. In fact, the Tigers, in their first 3 games of the season, in the first half, had kicked just 2 field goals total. Had scored no touchdowns in their first 3 games. They have just 6 points in the first half now through 4 games. But they have been able to manage some offense in the second half against Georgia, Texas A&M, and Vanderbilt. Now they are faced with a big third down and about 6. Daigle has protection. They wanted to set up a screen, it looked like, and now Daigle is running for his life. Oh, what a block back there. But the pass is incomplete. Tony McCoy had great pressure on Kevin Carter, also pressuring the quarterback Daigle. But LSU will have to kick it away.
Watch Daigle sprinting for his life. Watch this hit right on Tony McCoy. But Tony McCoy gets up quickly. Todd Kinchin wide open, waving for the ball. But is that Kennedy breaking on it? Almost.
Will White almost had.
Will White. It's number 2, Will White, the safety. And
almost had his 11th career interception.
He must have hurt himself as he rolled on the turf after almost picking that ball off. Tony McCoy was the one you thought might be laying on the turf for a while after that gigantic hit that he took. But
Kevin Mawai laid a blindside lick on him that sent him almost back to Friday night.
But you know what the great thing about that hit was that Mawai, who's a big guy, hit him right up in the shoulders and the head, which is, you know, he wanted to hit him as hard as he could, and you dream about opportunities like that, but he didn't go for the knee. He went for the head, which is, that's okay. Big guys don't mind that.
You got a lot more protection up around that part than you do down around the knees.
And you can get a better lick in, too.
Florida almost blocked that kick. And the ball is down by the Tigers at the 38-yard line of LSU. Michael Gilmore has come close all season long. Number 35 on the Gators special team, and he almost got that one, a 31-yard punt with no return into the wind. Gators and the Tigers have produced some of the top passers in Southeastern Conference football history. In fact, numbers 1 through 5 played at these 2 schools. Hodson and Kerwin Bell, John Reeves, Wayne Peace, Jeff Wickersham, and Shane Matthews will soon move into that company if he stays healthy.
Jeff Wickersham was a Florida native as well, from Merritt Island, I believe.
Everett is open and makes a nice catch at the 43-yard line of LSU. Matthews took a lick He stands in that pocket as well as any quarterback in college football, Jim, and a lot of times he'll pay for it, and he did there. 19-yard play.
Well, he kept waiting for Trey Everett to get open, and Everett was able to separate him himself a little bit from Robbie Green, who was in coverage right there, but takes a lot of guts to play that quarterback position.
Kevin Glenn is in at one wideout position. He's wide to the left. McNabb, the bruising fullback from the Funiac Springs, carries it inside the 35. A 9-yard play. Anthony Marshall, the free safety, and Ricardo Washington, the linebacker, number 13, combined to make the tackle.
Well, Washington got unloaded on by Isham Ishmael, David. He really got what they call a pancake on the inside linebacker right there. Just one of the prettiest blocks you'll ever see by the big offensive guard, number 77. There's another Bengal Tiger slowly getting up. Anthony Marshall shaken up on the play.
The man who made the tackle on the carry by McNabb, who is a punishing runner, and this time it results in the injury to Marshall.
Let's see if we can see the block by the big offensive guard Ishmael. Just that'll be hit on his highlight film for the rest of his life. He'll have a mental picture of that block that will stay with him. He's telling the other guys, hey, you should have seen what I've just done.
You know, Cal Dixon gets a lot of publicity in the Gator offensive line. Mark White also gets a lot of recognition, but Ishmael may quietly have gone about having the best season of all of them in that Gator offensive line.
I think some of the coaches mentioned to us that Ishmael grades out, or has graded out, higher than any other offensive lineman this year.
That block on Washington is sometimes referred to as a roach, and you knock the defender on his back. Right now we're more concerned about the physical condition of LSU safety Anthony Marshall, the sophomore from Mobile, Alabama. Has played a fine football game, and he's holding either his shoulder or his right wrist, somewhere along his right arm. There's a lot of pain obviously involved there.
He's a sophomore, had an excellent year as a freshman, making a lot of freshman all-star teams. He might not be back. It looks like he was shaken up quite a bit there.
Harrison Houston is now flanked out to the left. That's Everett moving in motion. Harrison Houston, touchdown.
Unbelievable.
35 yards. Houston's first touchdown catch since game 1 of the season.
They sent the 2 wide receivers in deep crossing routes. Trey Everett, I was watching him run from the right side of the formation. He actually looked open to me, but it was Harrison Houston that Matthews chose to go to, as he just barely gets rid of the football under pressure. Look at the coverage by Joe Miro, number 4. Carlton Buckles, number 8, just can't quite get there in time, and the Gators rack up a big touchdown.
That was a great throw, and maybe an even greater catch by Harrison Houston. The extra point is good, and Florida just goes a long way toward breaking this game open finally against stubborn LSU. It's 16-0 now with 9:29 left in the third quarter. One footnote on the last touchdown pass, Shane Matthews throwing it. He really took a blow on the tail end of that play from Nate Miller.
Well, those quarterbacks have to pay the price. Coach Spurrier said that one of the things that impresses him so much about Shane Matthews is willingness and toughness to stand in that pocket and get the ball to the wide receiver, as we look at Marshall, who continues to be treated along the sideline.
Let's see if we can pick up how Marshall got hurt. See his right hand, and it got caught apparently up in the
between the shoulder pad and the helmet right there, and perhaps he might have dislocated a finger, or perhaps broke his wrist.
Here comes Fuller. And Fuller is swarmed under by the Gators special team at the 25-yard line. Kevin Freeman was the first man there for the Gators. Florida's scoring drive, only 3 plays, 62 yards. The brilliant catch by Houston, his 4th touchdown catch of the season. And that breaks Steve Spurrier's record, puts him in third place all by himself in Florida football history in terms of touchdown passes. Chad Loop is the new quarterback for LSU, a sophomore from Baton Rouge.
Loop had big numbers against the Gators in Gainesville last year, had the highest production of any quarterback last year for the Bengals against the Gators, and passing attempts, completions, and yardage as well.
Marcus Carter makes the catch. Larry Kennedy was right there on top of him, though, to snuff out the play at the 28-29 yard line. There's Loop coming into tonight's game. He passed for over 1,000 yards last year for LSU, and Jim mentioned already that he had a big night, his biggest night of the year against Florida last season at Florida Field. Tigers with 4 receivers out on patterns, but the handoff goes to the fullback, and it is Sammy Seamster, the ball carrier, stopped behind the line of scrimmage. Looks like Fee Bartley, number 44, was there to make the stop.
Fee Bartley is flanked out at the Gatorback position, the top of your screen. You see him close rapidly as he was blitzing to put pressure on the passing attempt. He just broke off quickly to make the tackle on the draw. Ron Zook, who joined the Gator staff this year from Ohio State, where he was defensive backfield coach, now coordinating that Gator defense.
Again, LSU has 2 receivers out to the right and 2 to the left. Loop under great pressure. Finally a catch by Kinchin at the 41. There's the man with 70 career receptions, and that's his first of this game.
And Loop was under tremendous pressure right there. He stood in the pocket to the last second as well. Got the football to Kinchin, who came within inches of breaking away from Lawrence Hatch. And you don't want Kinchin to break loose because he's as fast as any athlete on the field tonight.
Tigers pick up the first down with 7:59 left in the third quarter.
No tight end, 4 wide receivers on the field.
McCoy coming. Carter almost made an interception. Number 57.
Yeah, it's Kevin Carter, as we mentioned. He's filling in for Michael Brandon.
Boy, is he coming on tonight or what?
Well, he got knocked down and he got up to chase the quarterback, and all of a sudden saw the ball whizzing over his head. 6'5", he doesn't look that big.
Well, he's got room to grow on that frame.
Yeah, he could go to 268, 270. I'm sure he will with the training table they have at Yon Hall.
7:54 left in the third. Loop looking. Kinchin in traffic. Close to an LSU first down at the 47.
Just another great job by Chad Loop, the quarterback, who's going to really pay the price as he gets hit, but he continues to have the courage to stand in the pocket, and you can tell it's his idea to get the football to Kinchin. He's looking for him all the way right here. Oh, it's Brad Culpepper who uses those big beef hooks to knock down Loop.
This is where LSU has struggled, in a situation where they've needed to run the ball to get a yard or less.
Can they convert on this occasion?
They need less than a yard. This time they got it as the ball was handed off to the fullback, Jermaine Williams. The Tigers pick up a first down to the Florida 46-yard line with 7.5 minutes left to go in the third quarter. And the Gators leading the Tigers 16-0.
This Jermaine Williams is the all-time career high school rusher in the state of Louisiana with over 8,000 yards rushing as a high school ball player. But he's really not been able to get ignited in this Bengal offense.
Remember when the Gators had about 5 Williams on their team about 4 or 5 years ago? Well, now LSU's got about 6 or 7 Williams. He's one of them. This is Fuller.
Well, they say there are more Williamses in the phone book now than there are Smiths.
I believe it. Tony McCoy on the stop of Fuller. Let's go down to the sideline and Steve Babbitt.
You know, so much is made about the quarterback on offense, but there's a quarterback on defense too. Will White is back there calling the defensive coverages. One time he made a call. Dale Spear couldn't hear it. After the play was done, Will White just ran to Dale Spear and obviously said, hey, I made a cover call. Did you get it? You were in the wrong coverage. Fortunately, no harm done, but Will White heads up play by him on the defense.
LSU is second down from the Gator 41-yard line. Loop rolling out. Intended for Carter, and Will White made sure the ball wasn't going to be caught.
I thought Luke might continue with the sprint out right there. No Gator was in containment right there. The corner had broken down as Luke sprints to his right, your left. He could continue to run there if he had chosen to do so and pick up excellent yardage, but he's not the running quarterback. Daigle, who was in the first half, is really the better runner. That time Luke decided to try and get the ball down the field, but threw the incompletion.
The 8th play of this LSU drive, which started back at their 26-yard line. The option.
Oh, no.
And down he goes.
Oh, my. Did they destroy that play or what?
Oh, man, they had it covered on every end.
Oh, that was an ugly-looking reverse, and the reason it broke down so quickly is because there was penetration at the line of scrimmage by the Gator defense.
There's a penalty flag down, and the LSU bench is cheering, so we'll see what that's about as we look at a replay.
William Gaines, 94, in there, and Myrick Anderson. Tony McCoy, what was the call?
Well, the flag is way upfield. The flag is down across the 50, back at about the 40-yard line of the Gators.
Well, the play was
nowhere near the play.
And it was over for some time. Unsportsmanlike conduct.
Well away from the action.
I think there was some taunting going on in the secondary after that play was destroyed. One of the Gators perhaps started taunting a Bengal Tiger, and the official standing nearby.
It's a dead ball. I think it's a dead ball foul after the play. So the down marker moves over to the 4th down, and they still need about 5 to pick up a first down.
You're exactly right. It was taunting after the play because we saw the play go down with no flags on the ground. The flag came out very late.
LSU going to gamble on 4th. The Gators come with a blitz. And Kinchin, the intended receiver, had a couple of steps on the Gator defense.
Oh, he had the Gator defenders biting on the quick hitch, thinking that he might break to the sideline or do the quick hook to pick up the first down. Then he broke down the sideline, and with his speed, that would have been a big touchdown for the Bengal Tigers. But Loop just overthrew him considerably.
Florida pressure might have had something to do with that. So the Gators take over on downs. LSU gambling with 5:55 left in the 3rd quarter. I guess they figure they've got little to lose, having suffered 2 embarrassing defeats already this season and trailing 16-0. Dexter McNabb with big yardage to the 39 of LSU, and McCorvey made the tackle, a 20-yard carry.
They tried to rip the ball away from him, and they're still fighting for it right now as the quick handoff to McNabb catches the Bengal Tigers off balance. The play happens so quickly, and McNabb generally doesn't carry the ball. Dixon and Watson making excellent blocks at the point of attack.
You know, this guy is a pretty darn good running back. He doesn't get the ball much, but you get the feeling that given the opportunity, he could have some hefty numbers.
Well, you remember when he was recruited by the Gators, they called it the Mac attack. McNabb and McClendon, those 2 highly recruited high school athletes, came to Florida with the hope of carrying the ball a lot, but obviously only one guy can carry it. And this year, Eric Redd has been the workhorse, but McClendon getting the chance as well as McNabb.
McNabb picked up about 5 again. Boutte made the tackle. Let's go to the sideline and Steve Babbitt. Well, we'll keep it here for now. Sorry, we missed Steve that time. I think that's Steve on the left, isn't it?
That's a couple of graduate students, I think, here and enjoying the ball game.
McClendon fights his way near the 30, and that's the line for the first down, but I don't think he made it. Ravelro Swan, the sophomore out of Shreveport, made the tackle on Willie McClendon.
Well, this can be a back-breaking drive right here for the Florida Gators, and the back that'll be broken is the Bengal Tigers because they trail in the ball game right now by 16 points, and the Gators can really put them in a deep, dark hole if they can punch it in for a touchdown on this drive.
Dual tight ends for the Gators on 3rd and 2. Rushing on the left side of the line, Terrell Jackson, 87 on the right side. McClendon high steps for the first down. Reggie Walker, 56, on the bottom of that stack, along with a number of defenders. Bobby Williams, the freshman, number 30, was also there.
If you enjoy offensive line play, this is a thing of beauty as you see Jimmy Watson, the guard, pulling outside, making a key block. Look at that excellent block right there by the big, strong offensive guard who has the quickness and speed to quickly get outside. That's what makes that short yardage play work.
McClendon getting the bulk of the action for the Gators on this possession. And McNabb gets the call to the 25, about a 3-yard carry. The entire left side of the LSU defensive line was there to make the stop. Brian Madden, number 57, the primary tackler. 3:35 left in the third quarter. Florida threatening to increase a 16-point lead. Unbelievable that you can come into this stadium and be a 23-point favorite, but that's what the Gators were coming into this ball game, and if they score and kick the extra point, that's exactly the lead that they will have.
What's also unbelievable is the game is not sold out. Can you imagine LSU coming to Florida Field and the game not being close to a sellout?
Tigers blitzing, single coverage on Willie Jackson. Good coverage by Corey Raymond.
Yeah, Raymond was leaning on him a little bit, but that's okay. Corey Raymond is saying, hey, no problem here. I just bumped him a little bit.
He was getting some abuse from the Florida fans down in that corner of the end zone, and he turned around and had a little fun with them. That'll bring up third down for the Gators at the 25. Well, we've talked in our previous telecast about the Gators' ability in this situation to throw the touchdown pass rather than run the ball into the end zone. Right now they just need 7 yards to keep the drive alive. Matthews going to throw for it, and he's got touchdown Willie Jackson at the 10-yard line. It's time for a first down, a 15-yard play with 2:51 left in the third.
Bengal Tigers in a world of hurt right there as Matthews had excellent protection, decides to run the ball himself, then puts the brakes on and finds Jackson as the defenders had to come up and close on Matthews. That allowed the seam to open up for touchdown Willie.
Florida 3-1 in total offense. LSU's defense, a lot of guys standing hands on hips down there, heaving on that LSU side of the football. Might be getting a little tired late in the third. Matthews almost hands the ball to Monty Duncan. Picks up about 5 or 6 yards to the 5-yard line.
That looked like a chest pass that they use in basketball, right, David?
Yep.
That helped his completion average, but it was also an excellent play. Obviously, he could just simply dump the ball down for 4 or 5 yard gain, and that's what he did.
We are late in the third quarter. The Gators led 9-0 at the half on 3 Arden Krzyzewski field goals. Matthews and Harrison Houston connected on the touchdown pass here in the third quarter. The Gators have run for only 3 touchdowns this season. And they're not going to get one on the ground here as Wayne Williams makes the tackle behind the line of scrimmage on Eric Redd, who is in at the tailback spot for the Gators.
Wayne Williams was up very close to the line of scrimmage right there, the cornerback, and he saw the draw set up immediately, broke towards the ball carrier to make the tackle quickly for a short gain.
When Monty Duncan made that reception, he was lined up in a tight end spot for the Gators a moment ago, that little shovel pass.
Yeah, they've tried to use him at the tight end position from time to time this year.
Terrell Jackson is on the sideline, a little bit shaken up. Here's the big third down play. Penalty flags are everywhere. And I think perhaps the 25-second clock ran out on Florida. That's the call. Too much time. So now instead of 3rd down and 5 from the 6-yard line. The ball is spotted back to the 11, the original line of scrimmage, so it's 3rd and 10. And 11 for a touchdown.
Yeah, Gators continue to be frustrated by their inability to ram the football down the throat of the opponent when they get inside the other team's 15, 10-yard line. They just have not been able to do that all year and have to rely on the passing game to get the touchdown.
Penalty flags down again. Aubrey Hill had his hands on it, but it's picked off by LSU's Corey Raymond. Raymond out to the 11, but let's see the penalty flag before we turn it over to the Tigers. LSU players are pointing toward the Florida side, and it's going to go against the Gators. Illegal motion. That was not a bad throw by Matthews. His receiver, Aubrey Hill, stumbled into the end zone and did not have his feet underneath him when the pass arrived. So off of his fingertips the ball went. Raymond picked it off, and LSU takes the football with 24 seconds left in the 3rd quarter, and Florida leading LSU 16-0. Corey Raymond's 6th career interception turns the ball over to the Tigers, so they stop the Gator drive.
Yeah, we mentioned that could have been a back-breaking score if the Gators had got a touchdown, but LSU was too tough and withstood the charge.
Luke's pass is caught by Wesley Jacob at the 17-yard line.
It did look like Aubrey Hill was a bit surprised when that ball came right to him, and it was the deflection off his hands that allowed the Bengal Tigers to get the turnover and the interception, but the ball seemed to be cleanly thrown.
That is the end of the 3rd period from Tiger Stadium, and after 3, our score, the Gators 16, the LSU Tigers nothing. 15 minutes of football left from Tiger Stadium. I'll tell you one thing, Jim, you can look at the LSU football team and you know right away they haven't given up on this game. They're pointing at the crowd and trying to get them to make even more noise than they've been making up till this point. They still feel like they can come back and win this football game.
Well, they did get embarrassed at Texas A&M. They got embarrassed against the Georgia Bulldogs, and they barely eked out a victory over Vanderbilt. So they've had their confidence shaken. They want to win this ball game.
They have not been embarrassed tonight. Let's go down on the sideline to Steve Babbitt.
David, we don't want to miss this. A very, very special Gator birthday wish to Rex Ferrier. 95 today. Rex Ferrier, the oldest living football letterman in Gatorland. Rex, happy birthday.
Ditto that from the broadcast booth, I promise you.
Yeah, he's an inspirational guy. I've had the pleasure of meeting him, and he lives in the Tampa area, and really proud to have him as a Gator fan and a Gator letterman, Rex Ferrier.
4th quarter begins with LSU in possession on 2nd down and 3. This is Gary Pegues running hard and out beyond the 25 before Kennedy makes the tackle, an 11-yard gain. Pegues has been moved from the wide receiver spot.
Yeah, it's one of those roster changes that we talked about earlier. A lot of players moving on this LSU ball club because they had the week off and they've been ineffective early this year. They made a lot of changes.
He is a true freshman from Fort Walton Beach. He played at Chalk-Tahatchee High School up in the Panhandle.
Gators were caught stunning at the line of scrimmage right there, and Pegues was able to hit the quick seam for excellent yardage.
LSU has run the option with very little success tonight. Darrell Williams, a senior fullback from Hempstead, Texas, on the carry. He's the younger brother of Harvey Williams, who's now playing for the Kansas City Chiefs.
A lot of tradition here at LSU with brothers and fathers and sons and cousins all wanting to wear the purple and gold of the LSU Bengal Tigers.
Vincent Fuller, number 27, is the younger brother of Eddie Fuller, who was an outstanding running back at LSU in recent years as well.
There's a Hilliard here and a Truax. Those are great names from LSU's past.
Luke finds Abel. And Abel is close to the 1st down before Will White makes the tackle. Talk talk about bloodlines, how about Todd Kinchin and his brother Brian? It was a great tight end at LSU, and then his dad Gus Kinchin was on the national championship team in 1958.
Leo Abel, it's just wide open right here as he's actually the third receiver flooding that side of the football field. He was the shortest receiver as well, but picked up excellent yardage as we see the wind continue to be a factor here, but it's at the back of the Bengal Tigers right now.
The flag that honors that national championship team, which featured Billy Cannon and included Gus Kinchin. No running room for the Tigers. Tony McCoy made sure of that. The play was stuffed at the 36-yard line.
Brad Culpepper as well. Just those two defensive tackles are doing a superior job for the Florida Gators. As you see Culpepper, look at him breaking right there, and there's Tony McCoy. You can't play defensive tackle any better than those two guys played it on that one play right there.
LSU frustrated, unable to put points up. 12:53 left in the football game. And second down. Culpepper's got him around the ankle. Penalty flag dropped late on the far side of the field.
Perhaps someone had grabbed Todd Kinchin while Culpepper was untouched. It seemed Kinchin might have been tackled in the secondary. Let's see what the ultimate call is going to be. But Brad Culpepper beat his block attempt so quickly that that play had no chance at all. But I think Kinchin, the wide receiver, was held up. Yep, that's an automatic first down.
Now the penalty flags went against LSU in the first half, but they've gone the other way here in the second half.
At the top of your screen, it's Fee Bartley who seems to have one hand on the back of Kinchin's jersey. We don't know if he's let go at that time or holding on, but they seem to think he had grabbed him and held on, and that's one way to stop Todd Kinchin, but it's illegal.
Somewhat questionable call. It is second down and 3 from the 46. Luke finds Fuller for the first down. Fuller was hit by Hatch and Ed Robinson.
This is the same play they ran just a few moments ago where they fled 3 wide receivers into one area instead of Abel, who caught the ball earlier on the flood route. This time it was Fuller, number 27. That's another name from LSU's past. Eddie Fuller, right? He was an excellent running back for LSU a few years ago. A lot of penalties.
A lot of penalties. Not many turnovers. Oh, look for the flag there.
Oh,
there it comes.
Wait a minute. I don't believe that. The umpire decides not to throw it, and then the bombshells start coming in. It was a good call.
I think so. I think he got there a little too soon.
The guy standing right there refused to call it.
Carroll was the intended receiver. And that'll give LSU another first down.
Well, we talked about the Gators having a chance on their last drive to break LSU's back. LSU, after the turnover, comes fighting back. They have a chance to get back in this ball game big time if they can punch it in for a touchdown. They'll still need an additional touchdown in the fourth quarter and a field goal because, well, they could possibly go for 2 both times to tie it up at 16.
Loop out of the pocket to the 30-yard line. Loop has given him a lift in the second half of this game. Myrick Anderson. And this is the deepest penetration of the night of the LSU football team. They're inside the Florida 30-yard line.
All the inside linebackers had dropped back in coverage. That play was not designed as a quarterback draw, but that's what it ultimately wound up being. As you mentioned, Loop is giving this team a spark.
The running game having trouble getting started. Jermaine Williams ran in place a couple of quick hop steps, and Myrick Anderson and Tony McCoy closed in on him. 11:13 left to play in the fourth period. Florida 16, LSU nothing. The game has been quite competitive, actually. The Gators have not had their way with the LSU defense, certainly putting the ball in the end zone only once tonight. 3 Krzyzewski first-half field goals gave them a 9-0 lead. And then a brilliant pass and catch by Matthews in Houston gave Florida the 16-point cushion. But LSU.
Oh, Tony McCoy.
And then Culpepper makes the tackle. Back at the 42.
They're just killing the offensive guards. Landry and Mawai. 52 and 76. They just. Look at Tony McCoy. He's just all over Landry, number 76.
Now it's 3rd for the Tigers and 23 for the first down. There's the vice president of the student body at the University of Florida.
He is a graduate student, right?
Already got his undergraduate degree.
That's what's nice about that 5 years of.
Oh, look how open Carter is. My goodness. Oh, he dropped the football at the 10-yard line.
Oh, poor Marcus Carter is waiting all by himself. Lawrence Hatch somehow gets lost in the coverage. He starts pointing, where's my help? Where's my help? And oh, does he take a sigh of relief after the ball is dropped. Unbelievable. Marcus Carter, one of the top returning receivers on this ball club, drops the ball.
A disappointed Chandlup on the sideline. He certainly did his job. But Marcus Carter couldn't pull down the pass at the 10-yard line. And we've got timeout called by LSU with 9:56 left. And the Florida Gators on top of the Louisiana State University Tigers 16-0. You get the feeling, at least tonight, that that man right there, Curly Holman, will turn this football program back around. Because LSU has played some excellent football tonight against the Florida Gators after getting blown out at Georgia, getting blown out at Texas A&M, and struggling against Vanderbilt 2 weeks ago. They've given the Gators a battle tonight, and they're going for a long field goal now. Pedro Suarez, whose longest in his career is 51 yards. This will be a 58-yard field goal.
Ron Zook and Steve Spurrier both were on different pages right there in terms of what kind of defense they wanted on the field against this long field goal attempt, so they decided to call timeout and talk it over.
I'm not sure that the Gators recognized a field goal was coming.
You see the coaches, they've decided to take the timeout and discuss it. Both of them not on the same page as to what they really wanted to do. So rather than take the chance, they quickly call the timeout to talk about it.
And now LSU changes its mind. Suarez says, what the heck's going on? Thought you're going to let me try one from back there.
I think Coach Spurrier might have been afraid that it would have been a fake field goal attempt and wanted to make sure the defense realized that it could easily be a fake.
Griffith has put his right leg to good use tonight. This will be his 8th punt of this game. He's been a busy guy all throughout the season with the LSU offense getting bogged down. He's averaged over 7 punts per game coming into tonight's game.
Nobody back for the Gators. They're just going to let the ball bounce.
And Griffith hangs it high into the air. And the Tigers will down the football inside the 5. A beautiful kick. Vincent Fuller, number 27, down the ball after a 38-yard punt by Brian Griffith. 9:46 in the 4th period. LSU fans enjoy their football and all the social activities that surround it. Gators Pride of the Sunshine Band also made the trip from North Central Florida. Right now things look like they're in pretty good shape for the orange and blue,
with the exception of this field position, but certainly the score 16-0 with a little under 10 minutes to go in the Gators' favor.
McNabb, who was a workhorse on the last Gator possession, gets the handoff on first down and picks up about 4 yards out to around the 8-yard line. LSU tackle made by Corey White.
Gators want to get some breathing room, move out from deep in their own territory, eat some clock up as well.
Terrell Jackson has returned, so he was not seriously injured. Hand off to McNabb, who pushes the LSU defender Reggie Walker a couple of yards upfield near the 10. Stanley Thomas was also there to wrap up the Gator running back. Inside of 9 minutes now left in the ball game. LSU continues to struggle offensively. And a crowd of in the neighborhood, I would guess, of 75,000. Most of them still here, although some now begin to head for the parking lot.
I don't know why. There's a lot of football yet to be played here.
Third down play, the cutback run by McClendon. I don't think he got the first down. He needed the 15, and I think he got about the 13.5.
Yeah, I think his knee went down clearly short of the first down marker, and Shane Edge is going to have to come out and punt against that difficult wind.
And I bet you can look for LSU to bring everything but the kitchen sink on this one.
They do have a kitchen out there, but it's without the tee, and he's deep to receive the punt right here. But you were right. They got 10 men at the line of scrimmage.
We're inside 8 minutes in the fourth quarter. Edge standing at the goal line. LSU did not come with a strong rush. Nice kick by Edge.
Beautiful punt.
Into the wind. Kenshin from the 45. Lex Smith, another good job on the special team on the tackle. Fine kick by the freshman Shane Edge. A 39-yard punt into a 15-mile-an-hour wind and only a 3-yard return. Clock is stopped. 7 minutes 35 seconds to play in the fourth quarter. The Gators 16, the Tigers nothing.
Sports Channel is your direct line to Gator head football coach Steve Spurrier. Gator Hotline, Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, all season long on Sports Channel, home of the Gators.
LSU with sophomore quarterback Chad Loop from the 47-yard line. And down he goes, number 94, William Gaines, the sophomore from Jackson, Mississippi.
William Gaines seeing some action to perhaps give Tony McCoy a breather right there. Or is McCoy still on the field? Gaines playing the end position. No, actually he was at defensive tackle for either Culpepper or McCoy was taking a break.
The scholarly looking Gaines, that was the 9th sack of the game for the Gators. Look out for Kenshin at the 40-yard line. The Tigers move the ball into Florida territory, a 16-yard play.
Well, I think one thing that makes Chad Loop effective is that he gets the ball to Kenshin. You know, he does everything he can to get the ball to his star receiver Kenshin, who beat Myrick Anderson right there in his attempted coverage of the play.
6 minutes 43 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Quarterback draw. Loop showing some nifty footwork. Inside the 20 to the 17-yard line. 23 yards on the play, and Hatch made the tackle.
This play is quarterback draw all the way. Loop picks up considerable yardage as the Gators inside linebackers have vacated the area. Darren Landry throwing an excellent block, number 76.
LSU is inside Florida's 20-yard line for the first time in the game. Under pressure, Loop for the end zone. And it is intercepted. Lawrence Hatch picked it off.
Will White had great coverage. Watch to the middle of your screen right there as the ball's clearly overthrown. Polk and Bartley putting pressure on, but Will White I thought was going to have the interception, but it was Hatch who ultimately came up with the turnover.
Junior college transfers, second interception of the season. And that cuts down the LSU attack once again with 6:09 now left in this football game.
Luke really under pressure there as he threw the ball.
Eric Rent, the running back, with the football. Penalty flag goes down late. Let's correct the count on the Hatch interceptions. That's his third of the season. Let's go down on the sideline and check in with Steve Babick.
You know, as this Gator defense shutout continues, I was behind the Gator bench during the last offensive series, watching Ron Zook and his staff work. It's amazing. Ron Zook talks to the defensive backs. Jimmy Collins to the linebackers, and Red Anderson to the line. You know, it's very well coordinated down here, and each guy's working to their particular strength or weakness and talking to the players and saying, okay, here's what they're doing. Here's what we need to do. It paid off that last defensive effort with the interception. Back upstairs.
Gator coaching staff has obviously had a good game plan tonight, particularly on the defensive side, although they like certainly to have more points up on the board.
And they've piled up some yardage with this offense, just not able to get in the end zone as much as they would have liked, obviously.
Moret carries the ball again out beyond the 35 to the 37-yard line. He was tackled by Sean King, a sophomore. Young LSU football team. Terrell Jackson limps off for the second time in the game.
Young tight end is taking a beating out there this afternoon in this evening in this Southeastern Conference battle.
Redshirt freshman Jordan Rushing checks in.
Tough position to play. You got to get in there with the big guys and also got to have the speed and hands to catch the football.
Another penalty flag goes down. The Gators trying to run down the clock. It's down to 4:58. This time the penalty will go against the Gators. The last one moments ago, as we heard from Steve Babick, went against LSU.
Play really getting sloppy right here with these infractions and such. Not the type of things coaches want to see.
Coach Steve Spurrier is on the verge of notching yet another victory. It will be the Gators' third Southeastern Conference win of this season. A lot of penalties on both sides.
Well, if the Gators win, that'll make them 9-1 in Coach Spurrier's first 10 games in the Southeastern Conference. Not a bad start. 90% winning percentage. Of course, the Gators were 6-1 last year.
Rhett gets big yardage across the 35 to the 37. Tackled by Rodney Young, a freshman from Grambling, Louisiana.
Well, is it too early to start talking about Tennessee next week?
That is a big one. That'll be the game of the week in the conference. One of the games of the week in the entire nation. Well, the LSU fans hung in there for 3 quarters and about 7 or 8 minutes, and now they've seen enough. Florida leading by 16.
Although this is a third down that needs to be converted right here. And it is.
Trey Everett to the 46-yard line of LSU.
Now they'll really start leaving after that one.
Rodney Young made the tackle. Gators pick up the first down, stop the clock as the chains are moved up the field. 3:52 left to play in the football game. Well, we saw a graphic earlier in this ball game regarding quarterbacks and what they've done between these two schools. Look at the Southeastern Conference history books when it comes to pass receiving.
Carlos Alvarez, one of the greatest all-time receivers, if not the greatest in Florida history, currently an attorney in Tallahassee. And we saw 2 Bengal Tiger receivers in that top group, along with Boo Mitchell, the #1 guy from Vanderbilt, when they used to throw on every down.
We just saw one of the reasons why Eric Rett is one of the top running backs in college football. He just initiated the contact and really delivered a lick to the linebacker, Ricardo Washington. He knocked him 3 yards back. He's one of those running backs who falls forward upon contact. We are inside of 3 minutes left in the game. The home run throw for Everett is overthrown. Trey was double teamed. Good coverage by Wayne Williams, a veteran.
Yeah, Wayne Williams showed excellent speed right there. He was right in the pocket of Trey Everett.
This is the previous play. Watch the contact and look at the linebacker go down. That's what I'm talking about with Rhett.
Yeah, he became the hitter instead of the hittee. That's delivering punishment right there. That hurt. Whew. Don't see that happen that often.
Matthews just over 50% tonight. He's been completing well over 60% for the season. Well, Eric Rhett might get 100 yards yet as he carries the ball down inside the 35. Adams made the tackle at the 33-yard line.
Now they'd prefer to stay on the ground right now if they can continue to have success, because obviously the priority is to eat the clock up and seal this victory up. Then that offensive line would really relish the idea of pounding it at the opponent as well.
Rhett needs 5 more yards to get 100 yards, and he might have just gotten them. That's exactly a 5-yard carry, I do believe. And that'll be a 100-yard game for Eric Rhett, his 7th of his young career. The sophomore from Pembroke Pines just hit the century mark on 23 carries. Not a bad night's work. Number 33, 1:59 now left to play in the game. Well, the orange and blue section of the stand still jam-packed. They're shoulder to shoulder down in that end of the field.
Yeah, they'll stay and enjoy this one well after the game is over.
Gators fake a reverse, and Rhett might lose those 100 yards back, but he did manage to get back to the line of scrimmage. Ricardo Washington heads up tackle. 1:35 left in the 4th quarter. Steve Spurrier standing next to number 22, Willie Jackson. It's almost down there deep enough to put touchdown Willie in, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think they want to do that though right now. They're willing to walk away from this place with a big shutout victory. And
do you think is there such a thing as a moral victory? And do you think LSU got one tonight?
I don't think they did. I think they really wanted to do better than this, and it's going to be a difficult year for them.
Great catch by Rhett with Washington all over him. Rhett runs the ball out of bounds at the 15-yard line.
I'm not taking anything away from their effort tonight. I thought it was terrific. LSU did play an excellent game, their best game of the year, even though they're going to wind up losing it. But they've got a long, difficult battle to work their way back up to the top division of the Southeastern Conference.
Well, they get a little bit of a break next week against Arkansas State here in Baton Rouge. Then they're back into the conference against Kentucky. And then they play Florida State here. Rhett is tackled behind the line by Washington.
That ought to do it, I think.
Only 18 seconds left. Clock ticking down. The ball spotted at the 16-yard line. Rhett lost a couple of yards. I think he went below the 100-yard mark with that last play, and that's going to be the final play of the football game. So that's the final. The Gators 16, the LSU Tigers nothing from Death Valley. Big win for Florida. Defeat the LSU Tigers 16-0. Head coach Steve Spurrier records his 13th victory in 16 games as head coach of the University of Florida Gators. And let's visit now with the head coach and Steve Babbage.
Coach, good win on the road against LSU. Great defensive effort tonight.
It was an excellent effort by both sides. Really proud of the team. We made a lot of yards to only get 16 points. I made some bad calls. We had a touchdown, go for an interception. But maybe we're saving them all for the next few games. Let's hope so.
Okay, Coach, thanks a lot. Head coach Steve Spurrier, happy coach as the Gators score a big win over LSU here in Baton Rouge. Our score, Florida 16, LSU nothing.
Sports Channel's coverage of Florida Gator football has been brought to you by Dairy Farmers Incorporated. Milk, it does a body good. By First Union. First Union Service, we guarantee it. By Osmos and Great Southern Wood, the most trusted name in wood preserving. By OM Genuine Draft and OM Genuine Draft Light. Real draft beer without the K. By Emily's Southeast Formula Motor Oil, built to keep it cool when the heat is on. And by Chevrolet and your Florida Chevrolet dealers.
There's the final from Death Valley. The happy Gator fans saluting their football team. They've traveled to Baton Rouge and come away with a 16-0 victory. And Jim Yarborough, they continue their domination of Southeastern Conference opponents. They have yet, well, they've given up 1 touchdown in 3 games against SEC teams, Alabama, Mississippi State, now LSU.
And a lot of confidence building as the Gators point towards the Tennessee Volunteers, who have the top offense in the Southeastern Conference. Andy Kelly, the top quarterback statistically. Pickens, one of the greatest receivers in America. It should be a great game at Florida Field next Saturday as this Southeastern Conference Championship battle continues.
LSU held to only 34 yards rushing. The Tigers had 142 yards passing, 176 yards total offense. Gators went over 400 yards in offense tonight with 184 by the pass, or rather by the rush, and 219 by the pass. Those unofficial statistics tonight. But there's the official final score, with Florida victorious over LSU, now 4-1 overall, 3-0 in the Southeastern Conference. LSU drops to 1-3, and the Tigers an even 1-1 in Southeastern Conference play. So for Jim Yarborough, I'm David Steele. This has been a Sports Channel presentation.